Mike Tyson was one of the most terrifying fighters boxing had ever seen, and a lot of legendary boxers agreed, from Muhammad Ali, who openly admitted Tyson scared him,
I'm scared of him.
You scared of this one?
to George Foreman, who straight up called Tyson a nightmare.
Mike Tyson was a monster. He was a monster. Those are the kind of guys you see in a nightmare.
In this video, we're looking at what boxing legends had to say about just how good Mike Tyson really was. Let's start with Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali had faced some of the scariest punchers boxing had ever seen. Sonny Liston, George Foreman, Joe Frazier, Ali had been in there with all of them. So you wouldn't expect him to admit that another fighter actually scared him. But that's exactly what happened when Ali appeared on the Arsenio Hall show in 1989 alongside a 23-year-old Mike Tyson. When Arsenio asked Ali what was wrong, Ali pointed straight at Tyson.
What's wrong? Oh, this one here? He's bigger. Huh?
I'm scared of him.
You scared of this one?
Then Arsenio asked the big question: who would have won if these two men fought in their primes? Ali did not do his usual routine. He broke it down honestly in his own words.
He's a dancing master.
Yeah, you were dancing. You moved.
I wasn't that powerful. I was so fast.
Uh-huh.
If he hit me,
Ali knew his biggest advantage was his speed and movement. The problem was what could happen if Tyson actually caught him.
he can be modest, humble, and nice. This man's great. And I don't know what would happen if he hit me.
Tyson wasn't about to take the compliment without giving Ali his respect too.
Every head must bow, every tongue must confess. This is the greatest of all time. I've seen them when they were killers, like Foreman, Shavers, guys that hit much harder than I.
You could easily write Ali's comments off as him joking around. But according to George Foreman, Ali had said similar things to him privately. Foreman claimed Ali told him Tyson hits so hard and that Ali didn't have the confidence he could have beaten Mike Tyson. But Ali wasn't the only legend who felt that way. Another heavyweight, one of the hardest punchers boxing had ever seen, was asked about facing Tyson, and even he admitted there was something about Mike that scared him. George Foreman. If Ali was the fastest, George Foreman was the scariest puncher of his whole generation. This is the man who destroyed Joe Frazier. This is the man who knocked out Ken Norton. Big George hit so hard that people were genuinely afraid to be in the ring with him. So when Foreman came out of retirement in the late 1980s and there was talk of a Tyson fight, you would think he would lick his lips. Not exactly when Foreman was asked about facing Tyson. He admitted he wanted no part of him.
I call him Mike Nightmare Tyson. That guy was a nightmare in the ring. I mean, really, if he missed you with his left, then miss you with his right, he'd bite you. I didn't want to have anything to do with that guy.
Apparently, Tyson wasn't too interested in fighting Foreman either, and George was perfectly happy to keep it that way. When the host pushed him and asked who really would have won, Foreman did not try to sound brave. He kept coming back to that same haunted word.
Mike Tyson was a monster. He was a monster. Those are the kind of guys you see in a nightmare, and you wonder, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, and you wake up and say, so glad that was a dream.
Now here's what makes this even bigger. Foreman was not just talking out of fear. He genuinely respected how complete young Tyson was.
I really admired Mike Tyson. He was not only, he wasn't that tall, that big, but he could hit you quick, real quick, and his footwork was outstanding as well. In his prime,
Foreman even said that if Tyson had kept winning for another 4 years, he would have ranked him second only to Joe Louis in all of history. And years later, when a fan asked which modern heavyweight would scare him most, Foreman did not name any of them. He simply wrote, "No one scares me like Mike Tyson did." One of the hardest hitters ever, still shaking his head at the thought of prime Mike. But while Foreman knew Tyson as the heavyweight champion everyone feared, another future champion met him way before that, when Mike was still just a teenager, and their first sparring session showed just how good Tyson already was. Lennox Lewis. Most of these stories are about facing Tyson as a man. Lennox Lewis has a different one. He met Tyson before either of them was famous, when they were just two teenage kids with big dreams. It started when Lewis won the World Junior Championships in the Dominican Republic. The American team told him he had not really beaten the best, because the best kid did not fly to tournaments. That kid was Mike Tyson, hidden away in the Catskills with his trainer Cus D'Amato. So Lewis and his coach got in a car and drove all the way from Canada just to find him. Outside the ring, the two teens actually got along great. Tyson was quiet, friendly, and a total boxing nerd.
So first time Tyson actually met me, you know, he was a nice guy, really nice guy. He took me in his room, showed me some old flicks that I've never seen before of old-time fighters.
But the second that bell rang, the nice kid disappeared and something else took over.
Bell went, he came across and he was trying to kill me. Like, you know, I did my Muhammad Ali thing, obviously stayed away from his power. But the first day was really hectic.
Lewis's own coach, Arnie Bohm, described that young Tyson as like a raging tiger, like a man possessed. That is the level of pressure a teenage Tyson was already bringing. Lewis had never felt anything like it. He said it was like an intensive study course on boxing. By the end of the week, Lewis had adjusted, and he says he got the better of the later sessions. But the moment that stuck with him forever was not a punch. It was what Cus D'Amato shouted from the side of the ring.
And the last day, is I got actually the better of him the last day. And I remember Cus D'Amato saying, "Mike, you're gonna meet him someday. Don't you do that."
Cus was right. Almost 20 years later, in 2002, Lennox Lewis knocked Mike Tyson out in the 8th round in Memphis. Two teenagers who ran together and sparred together in a small gym were always destined to collide on the biggest stage. And even at the end, Lewis never forgot how fierce that young lion had been on day one. Lewis was not the only future champion who went looking for that lion and refused to blink. The next man walked straight up to teenage Tyson and asked for the smoke on purpose. Evander Holyfield. Some fighters were scared of Tyson before the first bell. Evander Holyfield was never one of them, and that fearlessness started early, back in the amateur days, at the Olympic Training Center in 1984. Holyfield was a light heavyweight then. Tyson was a 17-year-old heavyweight who was knocking out sparring partners so often that people did not want to get in with him. Holyfield walked right up and asked for a session. According to Holyfield, Tyson told him, "You're my friend, I don't want to hurt you." That did not sit well with a grown man. They put the gloves on, and even though Tyson rocked him with a huge right hand, Holyfield fired right back until the coaches stopped it. That day taught Holyfield the one thing he carried for the rest of his life. He was not going to be bullied. And he understood exactly what made Tyson so special. It was not just power. It was the way this shorter man beat up much bigger men.
Mike Tyson is a small person.
Right.
He hit hard, but he got short arms.
Right.
And so I seen Mike whipping people that 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". And they outweigh him by 20, 30 pounds. He beat the daylights out of him.
Watching that gave Holyfield a wild idea. If a small man could rule the giants, then maybe he could too.
I figured if Mike could do it, I could do it.
So that gave you inspiration.
Holyfield also understood the mind games. He knew Tyson tried to break men before he ever touched them. But Holyfield had a plan, and it came from something his mother taught him.
What Mike had told somebody, say, everybody got a plan till they get hit. And he was right.
Of course, we all know how their two title fights went. Holyfield stunned the world and stopped Tyson in 1996. Then came the rematch. The infamous night Tyson bit a chunk out of Holyfield's ear. And here's something people forget. Holyfield's first thought was not to run. It was to bite right back.
I was getting ready to bite the daylights out of him. And I was going to bite him in the face. I would bite him in the face.
That is who you had to be to beat Prime Tyson. Not just skilled, not just tough, completely, totally unafraid. Holyfield could stay that calm because he felt Tyson early. Our next fighter felt him early too, and even after sharing a ring with him twice, he will look you dead in the eye and tell you all that nerve does not make this man one bit less terrifying. Frank Bruno. Frank Bruno is a big, strong, proud British heavyweight who fought both Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis. So when Bruno tells you which man was scarier, you should listen closely. And Bruno has been crystal clear about it for years. Bruno first met Tyson as a teenager in the Catskills, back when Tyson was still just a raw kid. Even then, something jumped out at him. When the interviewer asked what he first thought when he saw young Mike, Bruno's answer was simple.
Nothing much. He's not much more bigger than you, but he's compact. You know what I mean? You're compact, but he's compact, big neck, and start treating like he breakdancing.
But that early sparring left a mark. And when it came time for their first world title fight in 1989, Bruno knew he was walking into a storm. He felt the power. He also made sure Tyson felt his.
Yeah, he felt his power, but he felt my power as well.
In fact, Bruno became the first man to truly rock Tyson. Late in the first round, he landed a hook that buckled the champion's legs. Tyson himself later admitted Bruno's shots felt like electricity and that he saw white lights. Bruno remembers the moment with a smile.
I don't know, I rocked him, you know what I mean? Rock like Elvis.
But Tyson recovered fast, turned up the pressure and stopped him. Bruno felt that ferocity again in their 1996 rematch, when he called that version of Tyson like a tiger out of a cage. So when people ask him to compare Tyson and Lewis, Bruno does not hesitate.
I think Tyson, you know what I mean, very, very awkward, very difficult to catch. But I think Tyson was on the slide then, he was partying too hard. I think Lennox Lewis got him at the right sort of time.
Bruno has said many times he would rather box Lewis 5 days a week than face Tyson once. And his final word on Prime Mike says it all.
Watch DVDs of Mike Tyson when he was in his prime. You know what I mean? The people he knocked out, and he's so young, you got to take that into consideration because not too many, I don't think there's going to be another heavyweight who will come on this earth, how short, and be as dangerous as that man. And I've got to give him respect. You know what I mean? Because he's a dangerous hombre.
Bruno at least landed a shot and made a real fight of it. Our next man was something rare, an unbeaten champion walking in with a perfect record, and he was beaten long before he ever threw a single punch. In fact, what happened to him in the dressing room might be the eeriest story on this whole list. Michael Spinks. Michael Spinks was not some easy opponent brought in to lose. He was the undefeated lineal heavyweight champion. He had beaten Larry Holmes twice. He walked into his 1988 fight with Tyson at 31-0. This was supposed to be a real test of the young champion. Instead, it became one of the most chilling nights in boxing history. Spinks was famous for using fear as fuel. He once said, "It's not speed that makes you hard to hit, it's fear." But against Tyson, that fear stopped being a tool and turned into a trap. Tyson had already told the world he wanted to take his manhood and rip out his heart and show it to him. Then came the backstage moment that says everything. Spinks' manager tried to rattle Tyson with a mind game before the fight, but when he walked into Tyson's dressing room, he found the champion punching holes in the wall. Meanwhile, trainer Emmanuel Stewart checked on Spinks and found a man who was a nervous wreck, really freaking out. The fight lasted 91 seconds, 2 knockdowns and it was over. For years, people accused Spinks of quitting, of throwing it away. In a later interview, Spinks finally answered those claims directly, and he did not back down.
No, I didn't throw the fight. He hit me. He hit me in Tyson. He was on steroids. So I knew I had my hands full.
He also admitted his game plan fell apart the second the pressure hit. He should have moved. He knows that now.
I probably should have ran around the ring and try to get him that way.
Spinks says Tyson paralyzed him with an early shot that numbed my body, and the loss hurt so deeply that this proud champion never fought again.
I just had a terrible time swallowing the fact that I lost to Tyson. I said to myself, if I ever lose a fight, I would retire.
An undefeated champion gone in a minute and a half and gone from boxing forever. That is the aura Prime Tyson carried into a ring. Now, you would think an aura like that has to fade once the years pile on. Our next legend actually tested that theory in person more than 30 years later and got a very rude answer. Roy Jones Jr. Here is proof that the Tyson threat never fully went away. Roy Jones Jr. is one of the most gifted fighters who ever lived, a champion in 4 weight classes. In 2020, he stepped in the ring with Tyson for an exhibition. Tyson was 54 years old. This was supposed to be light and fun. Roy knew better from the start. Roy understood that the word exhibition means nothing to a man like Mike.
No, he doesn't have that in him. When you watch him spar, his sparring was fights.
Nothing exhibition-ish about it.
Yeah, they were fights.
And once they got in there, Roy felt exactly why the whole world had always feared this man. Jones later said the first time Tyson hit him in the chest, it felt like a mule had kicked me in my chest, and that his punches overall felt like a horse kicking you. This is a man who fought heavy hitters his entire career, and he called Tyson the hardest of them all. What scared Roy most was the uppercut. He spent the whole night clinching Tyson's arms just to keep it away, and when the referee tried to break them, Roy refused to let go.
Well, something broke. Wasn't nothing broke, but the referee told me, let him go. You think I'm gonna let this crazy man go? And let him throw this right uppercut. Yo! So have you seen what his uppercut has done to people twice my size?
And then Roy gave the best explanation of Tyson's mind that anyone has ever offered. He said the man simply does not have an off switch.
If you ever had a pit bull puppy,
Yes.
and they try to play with other dogs, they don't know how to play. They forget and start fighting. It's just in their blood. Mike Tyson has pit bull mentality. He don't know how to play.
Even at 54, Roy said the biggest surprise was not the power. He expected that. It was that Tyson's defense was far better than I thought it would be. Even at 54 years old, more than 30 years past his peak, and Mike Tyson was still a man you did not want to wake up. Roy also dropped a hint that keeps coming up on this list. He said the raw power was not even the scariest part. Our next fighter went 10 full rounds with Prime Tyson, and he can explain exactly what that means. Jose Ribalta. Not everyone got wiped out in seconds. In 1986, a tall Cuban heavyweight named Jose Ribalta stood across from a 20-year-old Tyson and did something almost nobody else could do. He took Tyson into deep water. Ribalta went 10 hard rounds before he was finally stopped, and to this day it is remembered as one of the toughest nights of young Tyson's career. Before the fight, the experts wrote Ribalta off completely. He remembers watching the news with his mother and hearing them say he would not last 3 rounds. He refused to believe it, and neither did she. That belief carried him into a war. Ribalta got dropped by that famous body shot and uppercut combination. He got dropped again, and every single time, he got right back up. Years later, when asked to describe Tyson, Ribalta made a careful and fascinating point. Tyson was not the hardest single puncher he ever faced. He was something more complete than that.
Mike Tyson was the best fighter I ever boxed. You know, he was not the hardest puncher I ever boxed. He was very quick, he had very good speed, and he punched very hard.
That is the key that so many people miss. Ribalta pointed to James Bone Crusher Smith as the hardest one-punch hitter he ever met. What made Tyson so deadly was the speed, the volume, and the combinations all mixed together. In Spanish, Ribalta once put it perfectly, saying Tyson era fuerte y rápido, meaning Tyson was strong and fast at the same time. And here's the badge Ribalta wears with pride. Tyson himself said Ribalta was the toughest opponent he had faced up to that point, a story Ribalta loves to tell.
Mike Tyson said that I was the hardest fight he ever had. He had never fought anybody hard before me, and he hit me with his best shot. And I got back up. And one time, he hit me with a shot. I got back up, and the referee said he went to the pin. I said, yeah, hell yeah.
In his autobiography, Tyson agreed, saying, I hit Jose Ribalta with everything, and he took everything and kept coming back for more. Even the men who survived Tyson still walked away amazed at how good he was. Ribalta earned 10 hard rounds and a lifetime of Tyson's respect. Our next legend was a much bigger name, a former champion who had already shared a ring with Muhammad Ali himself. He came out of retirement thinking he could handle young Mike. Instead, he suffered the only stoppage of his entire career. Larry Holmes. Larry Holmes ruled the heavyweight division for years. He beat Muhammad Ali. He had one of the greatest jabs in history, so when he came out of retirement in 1988 to face a 21-year-old Tyson, he had real pride on the line. He also had real doubts. When Don King first pitched the fight, Holmes did not exactly jump for joy.
My first impression was, shit, you got to be crazy. Me? Fight Mike Tyson?
Holmes took the fight for the money, and he knew he was not the same fighter who once ruled the world. He had a plan to survive the early rounds and wait for Tyson to tire. But Tyson did not tire. In the fourth round, the young champion broke through, dropped Holmes 3 times, and became the only man ever to stop Larry Holmes in his entire career. Holmes does not sugarcoat what those punches felt like.
Man, he knocked the hell out of me. What are you talking about, some tough shot? Them shots were hard. He hit me, man, bang, bang, bang.
Holmes has always mixed his praise with a little pride. He points to the moment his arm got tangled in the ropes as the thing that finished him off. He remembers trying to set a trap and paying for it.
I got him. I went like this. And then the ropes caught my damn arm. And I was like this, and he hit me 2, 3 more times. That was it.
But make no mistake, after the fight, Holmes gave Tyson real respect. He called him better than I thought and a true champ. He said Tyson hit so hard that the punches try to kill you. Holmes even predicted correctly that Tyson's wild life outside the ring would land him in trouble, but on the subject of pure danger inside the ropes, an all-time great and one of the smartest boxers ever admitted that young Tyson brought a level of speed and power that overwhelmed him. When Tyson caught you clean, the fight was already over. Every single man so far learned that same lesson the hard way. But one fighter stared at the exact same puzzle, found the answer that nobody else on earth could find, and actually lived to tell you how. Buster Douglas on February 11, 1990 in Tokyo. James Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson. He pulled off maybe the greatest upset in sports history, and that makes his opinion on Tyson the most valuable of all, because he is the one man on this list who solved the puzzle. Douglas did not treat Tyson like a myth. After meeting him, Douglas said he expected a big S on his shirt like Superman, and instead found just a man, just an ordinary man. He walked in planning to bully the bully. But even Douglas, the man who beat him, remembers the first time that Tyson power landed.
It was just like any other punch I hit before. It wasn't, it was just to see his speed. And then he's only like 5'10", and he ducks and he gets down, he kind of disappears. He makes his quick move to the left or to the right, and he's coming. And he's coming up with launching into you with hooks and right hands, and you just got to be alert.
Now here's the twist that ties this whole story together. Douglas, just like Ribalta and Holmes before him, says Tyson was not actually the hardest puncher he ever faced.
Was he the hardest hitter ever?
No, never. He wasn't the hardest hitter.
He wasn't the hardest hitter ever?
No. I had a sparring partner that was like 175 pounds that was, built like Tyson and, could hit really hard. He was a great friend of mine, Darnell Hayes. We came up together. He hit really hard too, but he just didn't have the focus and stuff. Yeah, I've been hit harder, but it's just his intensity, Tyson's intensity and determination is what really got him to where he was.
That is the secret so many fighters keep repeating. The raw power was scary, but the thing that made Tyson a legend was the intensity behind it, the pressure, the speed, and the aura. Douglas simply refused to buy into the fear. He timed the shots, took the best Tyson had, and finished him in the 10th round. And he knew it was truly over the second he saw the champion crawling on the canvas.
No, I thought he was going to get up. Only time I figured it was over is when I seen him crawl to get his mouthpiece. That's when I knew he was incoherent. Because we all know that you got to get up to get that count stop. And when I seen him reaching for that mouthpiece, I knew that he was hurt. I was like, oh, this is over.
Douglas proved Tyson was human, but it took a career best night, a fearless mind, and a heart broken by personal loss to do it. That is how high the bar was. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.